And hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stuart Irvine and welcome to my solo review of WrestleMania 39 Night 1 and Night 2. Cannot wait to talk about this one. There's 15 matches, there's 6 title defenses, there's the main event with Cody against Roman Reigns, you've got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens teaming up against the Usos for the Tag Team Championships, and many more awesome matches to talk about. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of that, please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Obviously we're on 303 of the time recording this video. My plan for the end of the year is to at least get to 500 subscribers. So that's the plan. So obviously we're in April, we can do this. I hopefully enjoy. So please like and subscribe to let me know. And also comment to let me know what you like about the show. So yeah, so we've got a lot of matches to talk about. Obviously we're going to, how we're going to do is just going to each match one by one. It's going to be, we're going to do night 1, then we're going to go straight into night 2. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to talk about this because there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, there's a lot of stuff to talk about in this pay-per-view. So I cannot wait to talk about it. So let's go and start talking about it, and start with the opening match of night 1, and that is the United States Championship match between Austin Theory and John Cena. So let's go. Yes, we started WrestleMania 39 Night 1 with the United States Championship match. Austin Theory defending his title against John Cena in a very good match, a match that I feel was cut short, 10 minutes too short. It had some good moments. Obviously, most of it was basically Austin Theory. He seems like he's done his homework. Obviously, he looks up to John Cena, so probably done his homework on his move style, how he does things. And he kind of was basically, every time John Cena looks like he was going to come back with the momentum that he's known for, Austin Theory kept cutting him off. Even using tactics like biting the ear of John Cena early on, and using biting techniques to really try and unsettle the 16-time world champion in John Cena. But yeah, we obviously obviously it was more the finish. It wasn't a clean win. Obviously with John Cena doing the 5 moves of doom, hitting the 5 knuckle shuffle, just about to do for the attitude adjustment. The ref got knocked out while Austin was trying to get out of it. Obviously Wire was down. Obviously John Cena locked in the SDF. He didn't know the ref was down. Austin Theory was tapping tapping like a scarlet dog. I think that's what JR used to use that reference for. Tapping. Obviously the ref was down. Just when the ref was still a bit down, but just about to get up, John Cena was just about to pick up Austin Theory, and a low blow by Austin Theory lifts up John Cena, hits the A-Town down, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Wins the opening match at WrestleMania 39, gets a big win against John Cena, but it's not a clean victory. So but the whole point of this match is that Austin Theory needs to win. I don't think anyone can really. A lot of people thought, well, John Cena win this? He won't win this. He wasn't supposed to win this. This was supposed to be a legend or someone, a big name he can beat, so he can use that as a springboard to do what I don't know what their plan for Austin Theory. After this match, obviously the way they've been doing the United States Championship has been really good. The last couple of months, probably like the last 6 months, has been really good. So I'm interested to see what they do. Obviously, I don't think I saw any shocks or any big returns. Maybe Riddle return that I saw maybe go against Austin Theory, because that'd be a good little match between that. Because obviously Theory's good, pretty decent in the ring. He was good in this match. You've obviously got Riddle that's really amazing in the ring. Put them two together, you could have a good little rivalry with very, very entertaining match. Maybe that's where they go from there, maybe, because we need it with a heel like Austin Theory. We need good in Riddle as a face. So I'm interested to see what they do. But yeah, I do think this was a bit shorter. I would have liked to build it up more. Frustration. Austin Theory couldn't get the job done a bit more. He kept hitting his moves. Maybe later on, and maybe he get frustrated. That's the reason why he cheated. I feel like it was just cheating for the sake of cheated. Storytelling might be a little bit better, but it's nothing. It doesn't offend anyone. We kind of went in knowing Austin Theory was going to win, so good victory for him. Hopefully, see what he go in there. John Cena, he'll probably back at SummerSlam. Wouldn't surprise his rematch against these guys, probably against Austin Theory. But yeah, I mean, John Cena did well. I think he's had better matches, but yeah, good match, but too short. But he's done exactly what he done. No harm, no foul. A solid start. So you want for a WrestleMania match. So. Not everyone can be Owen Hart and Bret Hart, can it? Let's be honest, no one could be like that WrestleMania opener. So, yeah, so it's good stuff. It's good stuff, but I feel it could have been longer. But yeah, but anyway, good start to this. A good start to this WrestleMania. So yes, let's talk about the men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. Man, that was a mouthful. Match between four teams of Braun Strowman and Ricochet going against the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. In as exactly as the title of the match suggests, it's just a showcase of these 4 tag teams. And exactly what it was a spot fest. It was short. It had all of the stuff you would want in a match. It had a tower. I think we had the Viking Raiders do some sort of tower, a Doomsday style device early on that, you know, people of them size shouldn't be springboarding off ropes like that. That looked cool. You had Chad Gable was absolutely amazing in this match. He did a thing where we even was able to do that rolling German suplex on Braun Strowman. Just shows how amazing Chad Gable is. I really hope to do something with this guy. This guy has got everything you would want if you give him good storylines. So fingers crossed in the future for that guy. But obviously he had a thing with Ivar going for that moonsault missed early on. We had a Tower Doom spot. We had Ricochet going on the top later on, doing like a shooting star press on the outside. We all forget how unbelievable this guy is. I think we all forget because I haven't seen it for a very long time. But yeah, that was awesome. But the finish was really cool because we got Ricochet going to the top, trying to go for that shooting stars press on Dawkins, but he puts his knees up. Then you've got what was it, Montez Ford go up, hit a frog splash with Dawson's knees on the back. So we were able to do that. Got the pin, got the win, and yes, the Street Profits got the win here. Yeah, it's just basically what it was. It was just a really good showcase. There's nobody storying in this other than who probably wins this will probably have the momentum to challenge the undisputed tag team champions, whoever wins that in the main event. And that was probably what it was, and it done good. The good thing is the match gave away what it is. It's a WrestleMania showcase. So it's a showcase how great these teams are, and it really did. Everyone came out of this match looking great. I think for me, Ricochet's probably up there with forgot how good he is, but I think Chad Gable was definitely MVP here. He looked amazing, and I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do with the Alpha Academy with the whole male models thing and Otis, because that looks ridiculously cheesy and over the top. But with Otis, it's probably got a good chat. It's probably going to work, and it's probably going to be fun because Otis is actually really funny and a really cool character. But we're interested to see with Chad Gable because I think he needs something. So I think he's the MVP in this match. I loved it. It was exactly what it needed to be. It was short. It was sweet. Awesome stuff happened, and yeah, I don't have more to say about this match. It'll be interesting to see with obviously the Street Profits getting a win. Unfortunately, probably everyone else kind of done most of the work except for the Street Profits later on. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, with the winners of the main event, obviously, if you're watching this, you probably know them by now. But it'll be interesting to see Street Profits against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Those tag titles. That's a match I would definitely want to see. So that's all I'm saying to that. That's going to be fun if that's where they're going to go with it. But yeah, this is what match was exactly what it said on the tin, and it was really entertaining and fun to watch. And it didn't hurt, and it didn't overstay its welcome, and it done its job well after, pretty decent but not exactly overwhelming match in the opener. This one got everyone excited and the crowd going. So yeah, good stuff here. So yeah, good match here, and it's hope Street Profits. Let's see if what they do after this big victory at WrestleMania. So yes, let's talk about the match between Seth Rollins and Logan Paul in a match that was very entertaining in the sense it was nothing too offensive, but it had a lot of high spots and a lot of good motivations here. I mean, it's pretty simple that obviously everyone loves Seth, love his music. Everyone hates Logan Paul, mainly because of him as a person outside. He's kind of a dick, or not kind of, he is a dick. He's not a nice man, and obviously people wanted Seth Rollins to beat the living crap out of him. But the annoying thing about matches like this is that early on Logan Paul was kind of getting the advantage, hitting stuff like the buckshot lariat, hangman and pages kind of move. That's what I know it for. Usually boxing skills. Obviously they're putting up that he got the screw in his hand, so he used it as a weapon on his kidneys, and obviously Seth Rollins freaking sold it so well. It's really cool stuff like that. But obviously Seth Rollins nullified that later on. But yeah, it just had some cool moves. Everyone kind of went over the top. Seth Rollins was really trying to put over Logan Paul here, because Logan Paul did look quite like he could hang with Seth Rollins. because Seth Rollins can make anyone look good, I gotta be honest. But Logan Paul in the ring, I'll give him credit. He was good in this match. He was really good. Obviously, we had the thing later on when the surprise, obviously, when Logan Paul came out later on. Early on, he had some sort of person dressed up in the mascot of his famous drink, you know, that kind of stuff. And obviously found out it was KSI. Obviously, if you know from the boxing matches they had a couple of years ago, and obviously he is a famous YouTuber as well down here as well. So he came down. Obviously later on he kind of distracted Seth Rollins. We had a spot later on where he was trying to help him put Seth Rollins through a table, with Logan Paul trying to go for the was it frog splash off the top. But obviously Seth Rollins was able to pull with the suit onto him, and obviously Logan Paul done the frog splash on his friend and not on Seth Rollins. Obviously after that spot, it was just basically hit Seth Rollins hit a pedigree. We had Logan Paul hitting GTS. Yes, he hit CM Punk's, and CM Punk's, as he's known for, he's obviously not his first one to do it, hit that. So I don't know if that's anything or just it's just a cool move and he wanted to use it for a near fall on Seth Rollins. But the match ended with Seth Rollins hitting a super kick in midair on Logan Paul, hit his stomp, gets the win, 1, 2, 3, and finally puts to bed the arrogant man that is Logan Paul. And a great match. I loved it. It was really good. It was really good. I'm not going to say great match. Maybe great, not great is the word of use. It was exactly what was possible. It was a fun match. Really, everyone wanted Seth to beat the crap out of him. He did. He won. He got the victory. And yeah, I mean, Logan Paul. They made Logan Paul look good in this match. But that's some cool spots. It was a bit weird with the KSI thing. But it had all the twists you would have in a WrestleMania match. So yeah, it was fun. I mean, Seth Rollins, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't think there was anything really put across on Raw that I know of. So I don't know if they're going to put him back in the title picture with Roman Reigns, because obviously with him, no spoiler, he won the main event that we'll talk about later on. Needs someone else to go against him to keep him going if he's losing that title at SummerSlam. But yeah, put him back in the title scene. Probably go after Bobby Lashley or something maybe. I don't know. It feels like sky's the limit with Seth. Logan Paul, we probably won't see him until like SummerSlam now. I don't know. Probably will be a rematch between these two at some point. Probably. I feel like this is a 2 or 3 match kind of rivalry. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, good match in a sense. It was fun. The right person won. Obviously, it will hell to pay if Logan Paul, that's pretty much a part-timer, beating the workhorse that is Seth Rollins in a match. I think the internet would have raged. So great result. I like Seth Rollins, and I'm intrigued to see what they do with him. Hopefully, he is hot right now, in the sense of that he's got the kind of support he got many, but like 2016, I think 2018. So if they can capitalise on that, they've got something big here as well. Another big star that they can push. So fingers crossed they do something cool with him. And yeah, so good match. But interesting to see what they do with Seth Rollins in the future. Yes, let's talk about the 6 women tag team match with Trish Stratus teaming with Lita and Becky Lynch, the women tag team champions, going against Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Bayley. I mean, this match I don't think there was much hype for it for me personally. Obviously, the idea that Trish Stratus and Lita teaming up with Becky is like kind of the draw. Obviously, Trish Stratus has been wrestling the last couple of years, but I mean, this was kind of a match that I wasn't totally looking forward to. I was just kind of like, oh, this is cool, but there was nobody hyped for it for me personally. I don't know if people got anybody hyped for this, but yeah, I mean, as the match, it was fine. Something felt off about it. I don't know what it is. It just felt like, I don't know if the speed or just they didn't really know what to do, but it just didn't feel right. Obviously, we got some cool stuff. Obviously, most of the start of the match was, as you expect, Damage Control being in control and starting on Becky Lynch, obviously doing a lot of the work. When Lita came in, I mean, I think she was fine, but it just seems like the pace slowed a little bit, because I don't think she can do half the stuff she can do back in the day. But she does this cool little parkour thing in the corner where she was holding on the ropes, then flipped, and they have to do like a nice little Hurricane Rana type situation. That was kind of cool. Obviously, we got Lita hit some sort of, vertigo move that I can't even think what it is. Hit it early on, but yeah, I mean, it had Trish Stratus came in, she looks great, done a lot of head scissors, she done like nice head scissors on both Io Sky and Dakota Kai. We obviously had Lita and Becky Lynch helping Trish Stratus do like a nice Hurricane Run as well onto the outside where she was standing up to the top of the rope, and then kind of using her, using them to support, to be able to flip to cockeye onto both of them. That was really cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously we had was a bit of Hardy Boy stuff with Lita and Trish Stratus doing the poverty in motion type situation. It was really cool. But yeah, I mean, the kind of match ended with Io Sky trying to go, everyone doing their flips outside. Obviously, Io Sky done that moonsault that she's known for, genius of the sky on the outside. Everyone was fighting. Then but the match ended with Lita doing Twist of Fate. Then obviously Trish Stratus hitting the click kick. Then you got Lita go top, hit a moonsault on both Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Then obviously they're both fighting at the top, Bayley and Becky Lynch, and then she hits a manhandle slam, or as I call it, the rock bottom, from the top on Bayley, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and wins the match for her team. In again, Damage Control keep losing. This team was supposed to be a dominant force, but they seem to keep losing the big matches. So I don't know if at some point that the Dakota Kai and Io Sky will turn on Bayley, because obviously they're not winning. They're not doing well. They're not dominating. They're not in control, as the Damage Control group name suggests. When it comes to this tag titles, I don't know. Obviously, at the Raw, I'm assuming they didn't lose tag titles at all. But it'd be interesting to see what Lita and Becky Lynch do at the tag titles. I don't know if this was just a nice little twist to give the title to someone big name, or just to get a twist to stick it to Damage Control. But Becky Lynch and Lita's champions might work if the showcase, obviously in night 2, shows that they're starting to build some tag teams. We might actually get some sort of women's tag team scene that, to be fair, these tag titles have never really had. And if they can do that, that'd be cool. As always, it's great to see Trish Stratus in the ring. She's amazing. Obviously, for some, she still got it, as they see. She didn't look out of place in that match. And yeah, good stuff here. But it just didn't have any hype for me. I don't think the crowd really into it. It was fine. It was a good match in the sense that it was productive well, but there was no real anything really going for it. It was just it was a solid match. It was good to its point, but I think it's probably on night 1. Obviously, we'll talk about it a bit more when I do my full review at the end of this review. But I would probably say it's probably one of the weaker matches on the card, and that really sucks because of who's involved. But I just think this story, it needed a bit more story than just. Was it more than just the story is Becky Lynch and Bayley, and obviously it needed a bit more going for. I don't think the story was really strong enough to really get you invested, and it sucks because it could have been really cool. But yeah, not a bad match. It could have been better with better story. But yeah, Damage Control, they've got to do something with that because they're not being booked very well at all. And yeah, I like I just hope this Lita Becky Lynch tag team is not a one-more thing, and maybe the star power of Lita being on it might finally help those tag titles finally mean something that I really want to see. So interesting to see what we do there. But yeah, not the best match on the card, but it was fine for what it was. And yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with those tag titles, because it's going to be interesting. So yeah, let's talk about Rey Mysterio versus Dominik Mysterio. Only the second time in WrestleMania history that a son and a father have fought at WrestleMania, and obviously it's probably one of the second best kind of storylines going through WWE, up there with the Bloodline. Obviously this match kind of all finally set up after Rey finally accepted Dominik Mysterio's challenge after Rey was talking to his mother. So obviously Rey couldn't stand it anymore, and he knew he had to teach this young man a lesson with respect. And but yeah, so it's been a good build, a really good build for this match. When it comes to the match itself, it was good. It was very fun. Not a lot of like major crazy moves in a sense. It's more set up in the whole storyline, so it's more story driven kind of match. It's kind of fun. But obviously you got to talk about Dominik Mysterio coming out in Rey Mysterio's mask. It's ultimate sign of disrespect. Coming in, obviously he was escorted by police. That kind of shows that he's playing on the idea that he was arrested for one day and he survived jail, but that's not how it works. And but then you have Rey coming out at his music and the Lowrider with Snoop Dogg. With Snoop Dogg, and yeah, and there was a really cool moment. Obviously, it's nice to hear Eddie's music. Obviously, again, it's always nice. It's too sad to this day that you don't hear from him anymore and don't see from him. It's still a tragedy, that thing with Eddie Guerrero, and yeah, still hurts to this day. But yeah, that's the match. It was again, it's very story driven, very good. Obviously had the bit early on with Ray kind of whipping Dominik's ass with a belt, with his belt, you know, using the old father hitting his son to kind of prove discipline. That's kind of not a thing we do now, but you know, I like the what's the word I'm looking for? I like the way that was portrayed. Obviously Ray was getting the upper hand. Dominik couldn't take advantage, so he was going up to his mother and sister that was in the crowd again, similar position than they were on the SmackDown, and obviously he hit threw a drink in the face of his own sister, and obviously that obviously intimidated Ray. Dominik was doing two advantages of this, and obviously he took in charge with this, and obviously we had. So after that, we had obviously a cool thing with Judgment Day came out, obviously trying to help. Wouldn't surprise me. Then Phantasma came out. Obviously, there's been talk of them teaming with Ray for a couple of weeks now, coming out to even the odds. Took out the Judgment Day, so they're out of the picture. We obviously had a cool kind of Dominik who hit a reverse German onto the bottom turnbuckle that looked really cool. Really cool stuff there. Obviously, I like the idea that basically Dominik hit the 619, then he hit the frog splash, Eddie's frog splash, but Rey Mysterio, his father, kicked out. But yeah, and obviously after that, obviously you had, Dominik Mysterio was after this, didn't know what to do, so obviously later on, Damian Priest put the jacket on the bottom, and obviously that had some chain in it. He was going to use the chain, probably wrap it around his fist, trying to take out his father, but obviously Bad Bunny, we should point out, that was on the Spanish announce team. Came out, took it away from him. Obviously, Rey Mysterio took advantages, dropped him into the second rope, hit the 619, went to the top, hit a frog splash, got the win, and beat his son at WrestleMania. And but I said great match. Well, I say great, by the way, it was a good match. It was a good combination of that storyline they built. Is it over? I probably don't think so. Obviously, on Raw. Obviously we had a confrontation with Bad Bunny and Dominik Mysterio, so that's going to set up, and Damian Priest, so it's going to probably set up either a tag match with Dominik Mysterio and Damian Priest going against Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny, because you can't really do a singles match, so it's probably a good chance it's going to be a tag team match. Wouldn't surprise me. So, but yeah, good stuff here. I think it's a nice ending. The crowd were really into it. Michael Cole was doing the old kind of like proper old school kind of commentary where it's like this guy he's so angry with Dominik Mysterio that kind of makes you want to hate him. Good character work by Dominik. He's really improved since he's turned heel, and I'm kind of hoping that it continues more and more. Obviously, he might go a bit more crazy after this defeat, so it might be interesting to see. But good to build to probably part one. Be interested to see what part two of this story will be. But I cannot wait to see it. But yeah, interesting stuff. But I've got a feeling this storyline is not over yet. So yes, let's talk about the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Obviously, Rhea Ripley is the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, and she chose to face Charlotte Flair in a rematch of the WrestleMania during the pandemic era. First one that had no crowd, and obviously with Charlotte Flair beating Rhea Ripley for that NXT Women's Championship that she had at the time. But yes, it's kind of a simple match. This was, in the storyline wise, is basically Rhea Ripley is a different person then, and she finally wants to get revenge and outperform the Queen, Charlotte Flair. But as the match goes, it was a lot of basically mind games early on by Charlotte Flair trying to get into the head of Rhea Ripley, obviously because she knows that she's desperate to beat her, so she's trying to use her rage to maybe counter. Maybe that's the way she was going. But yes, obviously a lot of German suplexes in this match. We obviously had one early on when Rhea Ripley hit a German suplex off the top, and obviously Charlotte flipped, so it looked more devastating. We had some cool stuff there. We had Rhea Ripley try again. Obviously it didn't work. Then obviously Rhea Ripley hit another devastating German suplex where she flipped again on her face. But yeah, obviously the bit that obviously we had the bit in halfway through when obviously Rhea Ripley hit Riptide, and almost hit the ref basically. Situation almost hit the ref, obviously by a big boot. With that distraction, Rhea Ripley headbutted her. Charlotte Flair hit her finisher, the Riptide, and I thought that was over. That's when I thought the match was over, but that's not what happened. Obviously, she kicked out. Then we had a lot of 1-2 pin after pin after pin. Rhea Ripley locking in, had devastating submission move that I can't know what it is, but like you lock the legs and obviously in a kind of hog tie position, that kind of situation. Obviously Charlotte Flair was able to get out. We obviously got back and forth. Charlotte Flair was able to finally lock in the figure 4 leg lock, but obviously Rhea Ripley got to the ropes early, but the match kind of ended with both women at the top rope. Charlotte going face first into the top rope post, kind of, trying to go top, and Rhea Ripley chucked her into that, and obviously she was having to hit a riptide from the top rope, get the win, and finally beat Charlotte Flair to become your new WWE SmackDown Women's Champion in an outstanding match. It was great. It was, the way I'm describing it is probably not the greatest, but it was really good. The crowd were into it. It was exactly what you would expect for a WrestleMania caliber match. It had all the drama, had the near falls, it had all kinds of just craziness in this match, and it was just fun to watch. And I wasn't sure who was going to win, because when it comes to, you expect Rhea Ripley, but they could have moments where Charlotte could have won, but Rhea Ripley winning makes sense. Obviously, on Raw, I've seen they might tease a unification match between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. I don't think I'm a fan of that, because I think the titles need to be separated. Obviously, the Roman Reigns situation has proved that sometimes having unification titles is not always the best option, and that's probably why they did it back in the day, or early on when they done the brand extension, where they eventually decided that both brands needed separate titles. But that's just me. I don't like the idea of that. But I think Rhea Ripley with the Judgment Day by our side could be a long reign, and I think they could, if they wanted to, make it a reign to remember. Obviously, now the Judgment Day is they've built out that group quite well. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest. After the surprise of kicking out Edge, you would have thought that would be the end of it, but they've got some legs out of it. They've got some stars, and obviously Rhea Ripley, and obviously Dominik Mysterio has impressed since he's turned. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. But I think Rhea Ripley is a long-standing champion, and I think it's going to take someone quite amazing to beat her. Might be Charlotte. Maybe she might come back in a couple of months and win. Might be, I don't know, Bianca Belair. Maybe she might be the one to beat, or maybe they can build up someone new, and it could be a similar situation where they come back, they build them up to beat Rhea Ripley. But I see a long title reign for Rhea Ripley, and I cannot wait to see it. But yeah, probably one of the best matches of night one, possibly the entire WrestleMania. It's up there. It's probably in top 3 at least. It's a very good match, very good, and I would definitely suggest checking it out. But yeah, so Rhea Ripley is your new SmackDown Women's Champion, and I can't wait to see if they build it as a long-term reign. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, good match here. So before we talk about the main event, obviously I just want to briefly talk about that segment with The Miz, Pat McAfee and Snoop Dogg. Obviously there's nothing really to tell other than Pat McAfee just beat The Miz to embarrass him. There's nothing really crazy there. Obviously they followed that up in the next later on the night too, but we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But just wanted to bring up before we get to the main event, the WWE Unified WWE Tag Team Championships on the line, with the Usos defending against a new, best friends reunited yet again with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was amazing. I loved the build to this. The bit when Kevin Owens finally acknowledged his best friend Sami Zayn as a fight against the Bloodline. The hug, biggest pop you'll ever see. Tells you what good storytelling can do and Bill can do if they wanted to. But yeah, so obviously about the match, it was just amazing. Had everything you wanted in the main event. It had emotion, it had near falls, it had you had a situation where you thought maybe the Usos might win, and obviously you might see, and the way it kind of ended, you thought it was going to go a certain way, but it went back and forth. It was just a great main event. I love it. Obviously we had a lot of it early on, was obviously the Usos using tag team in control early, obviously isolating Kevin Owens from Sami Zayn, and obviously a lot of Sami Zayn being the great babyface that he is now, I just realised how good his kind of selling is, because the guy knows how to sell getting a beat down. The guy's good at, that's what makes the good hit the faces, man. They know how to look like they go for a beat down. But obviously after that, when obviously Kevin Owens got the hot tag, he was going crazy. He kept doing cannonballs onto the outside, frog splashes onto the inside and outside the ring on both the Usos. You got Sami Zayn hitting brainbusters on Jay on the apron. You had all kinds of crazy stuff happening. But then obviously we had the near falls here. We should point out that this was basically, it was crazy. You had multiple super kicks by the Usos and Sami Zayn as kind of like pedants for what he did. Then obviously you got double super kicks. Then they hit the 1D that is basically almost a 3D. 3D, a nice little fact: no one ever kicked out of the 3D. No one kicked out of the 1D into this match. What a shock that was! No one's kicked out of the 1D. To now tells you how big this match was. Sami Zayn was able to kick out of it, a big moment there. Obviously after that we had obviously Usos slam Kevin Owens through an announce table, then hit another 1D on Sami Zayn. Was, as I said earlier, but was kicked out for that. Then obviously Jay hit his to try to hit Sami Zayn's Halubi kick in the corner, but obviously Sami Zayn was able to hit a exploder suplex. KO came in after obviously coming out from that, taken out from the table, hit 2 pop-up power bombs. Then obviously you got Sami Zayn hitting Luba kick, Kevin Owens hitting a stunner, then on Jay, but obviously he kicked out. You thought that was the end of the match. Then it was just hockey fights, super kicks. You know, Usos hit their double splash, just won them so many matches. Obviously, KO kicked out of that. Obviously, then they hit everything, and everything was kicking out type situation. Then obviously the Usos then have a super kick and KO. But then KO was able to hit a fisherman buster from the top rope. That looked really awesome. Then obviously Sami Zayn got back in, hit the hot tag. KO was able to stun the Jimmy, so he's out of the question. And then Sami Zayn hit not 1, not 2, but 3 Haluba kicks on Jay. Gets the pin. They get the win. We have new WWE Tag Team Champions, and what a moment it was! It was everything you'd want for a main event. Everyone went home happy. That big moment where Sami Zayn is finally and Kevin Owens finally win, well, again, first Tag Team Championships together in WWE. And yeah, the Usos have lost their tag titles as they teased going in. Could this be the start, the end of the Bloodline? And obviously it'd be kind of the problem with that was started out with the situation of obviously on Raw where basically the Usos were told to wait in the car and nothing happened. You know, what he would acknowledge, because the whole thing with what happened with Cody and Brock, we'll talk about that when we're talking about the main event on night 2. But yeah, it was a great main event. I loved it. It was great. It done exactly what you need to do, and it was just a great moment. It's going to be up there, one of the best WrestleMania moments out there. Sami Zayn is a great face. Kevin Owens is great as well. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do after the Bloodline storyline, and it'd be interesting to see what they do. Obviously, with that showcase they had earlier on the show, shows that they're trying to build a tag team division. So it'd be interesting to see when they face them. But the idea that we're going to was it Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn kind of tag team run? It's going to be fun. Obviously, we don't know where it's going to end, but it's just fun to see because we never really get. It's going to be fun to see them two together as a tag team because they're both amazing performers, and maybe we've never really seen it other than just to being adversaries. We had it when they were heels, but they didn't last long. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, great moment, great match. I would say this is not over. I wouldn't suppose there's a rematch at Backlash for those tag titles, Usos versus KO and Sami Zayn, or we're probably going to get some sort of 6-man tag. But them tag titles, the Usos going to get another shot at them tag titles. It's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, great moment, and yeah, it's great to see. And yeah, ended night 1 on a high. So good stuff there. So let's go and talk about night 2. So yes, let's talk about what kicked off night 2 of WrestleMania, or WrestleMania Sunday. Obviously, the match between Brock Lesnar and Omos, in a match that, gotta be honest, wasn't exactly looking forward to, and I don't think a lot of people were. A kind of match that kind of reeks of a Vince McMahon, kind of two big men going against each other, and as a match itself, it wasn't that great. It was pretty much the usual kind of match you would put, like, with obviously Omos' limited ability in the ring. Obviously, a lot of the match was just almost throwing Brock Lesnar across the ring, and yeah, obviously we had a lot of bear hugs from Omos, as well as, you know, manhandling basically Brock. But basically the match was like that for most of it. Got a choke slam by Omos as well, but then kind of the match ended with basically Brock came back into it, hit three German suplexes, then tried to go for an F5 but couldn't at first because of his back, because obviously a lot of that thrown around by Omos. But then he was able to get back into it, hit an F5, one F5 for the win, and beats Omos without really breaking a sweat. So I can see why they put this on first. No one's really excited for it, so kind of just more put it on now, get it out of the way, and then it'll be fine. But yeah, not a great match. I mean, it was fine. I had low expectations for it anyway, so I don't think it harmed anyone. Obviously, we know what Brock did, obviously after the war after WrestleMania, so we know what happened there. But I don't know. It just didn't feel. yeah, it's just one of those matches that obviously we've heard rumours that obviously Brock turned down Bray Wyatt, and I kind of see, because I don't see Bray Wyatt's kind of brand of storytelling working on Brock. Obviously, but they went Omos, and it kind of can see it does have similarities to Brock versus Big Show, the old, can he lift this guy up because he's really big and tall? And obviously he can, because he's done it. We've seen the story before 1,000 times, so nothing really original there. So was Omos got anything from this? Yeah, obviously he faced Brock at WrestleMania and he manhandled him for most of the match. Obviously Brock won, so I don't know what they're doing with Omos. Obviously with MVP, it's kind of made him a more of an interesting character, because they've kind of more put it in the MVP's the mouthpiece, and obviously Omos has got the physique and he looks like a man that he's going to be hard to take down. But I think they need to think of something else, because it's not, I don't know, I need to do something more. I don't know what they would do, but they need to do something. But yeah, nothing really crazy this match. Yeah, Brock winning makes sense, almost looking good from defeat, I guess. So kind of worked for what they wanted to do with it. But yeah, okay start to night 2. I'd probably say the John Cena Austin Theory was definitely a better opener, but I mean, I can see why they put some first, get out of the way, so they can focus on the matches that they built up a little bit better. So yeah, okay match, but not. It's going to be quite forgettable, and a lot of people will probably forget it even happened when they look back and talk about this show, probably end of the year or when they look back at it, because it is in a way kind of forgettable. But hey, Brock wins, good for him, I guess, and almost looks alright. So yeah, not a bad opener. It's not great though. Yes, so obviously on night 1 we had the men's WrestleMania showcase Fatal 4-Way tag team match. Obviously on night 2 we have the women's equivalent to that, and obviously we had Liz Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez going against Natalya and Shotzi, and Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville in, again, okay match. It wasn't anything special. Obviously, it's just kind of a lot of these teams have been put together. Probably the only ones that probably wasn't Liz Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez has kind of been put together. Has been a team for a little bit, but yeah, a lot of these teams just put together, so there's no chemistry, continuous chemistry. I mean, you could say Ronda Rousey is Shayna Baszler, but to be fair, they didn't really do anything in this match, to be fair, until the end. But it did have some cool spots. You had they had this thing where they kind of Shayna Baszler got triple power bomb by Liz Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Natalya. Obviously, that's really cool. We had a power bomb on Liv Morgan. It was really cool. We had a nice little shot. She had assisted kind of double bulldog on Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. That was fun. I like the idea that basically Chelsea Green did not want to anywhere near Raquel Rodriguez. I can understand that, because she's a very tall woman and very strong, and I would not want to go near her because she probably could hurt me. So I can understand that. We had cool things like, we had Shotzi and Natalya hitting a heart attack on Sonya Deville. That's really cool. We had Natalya locking in a double sharpshooter. That was really cool as well. But obviously Liz Morgan was able to hit like a cold breaker out of nowhere, and one of the finishes called the Oblivion. That was really cool. But basically it was a simple fit situation. Everyone was doing all the work, and then obviously Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler just tagged in after all that thing near the end. Was able to lock in, Ripley, Ronda Rousey, was able to just lock in her, an armbar submission. Was able to, whoever, I think it was Liz Morgan tapped, I think. And and they get the win, and yeah. So I guess in the same with the men's, obviously they're probably the favourites to face, Becky Lynch and Lita. I'm still not quite convinced. Obviously, as we know, why, as I would like to say when I said when they tripped that 6-woman tag, I hope that this turns into some sort of thing they're trying to build up. But the idea that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler winning this is not something I'm against, because obviously they came into it not having to qualify, so they could be that kind of prized team that everyone hates, going against kind of the workhorses that are Lita and Becky Lynch. That I can see it could be fun. It could be a fun match, but obviously I don't think this was a number 1 contendership, because that happens a lot and it doesn't really do well. But yeah, it was fine. I think it's just more that this match was nothing to write home about. Was it a showcase for them? Yeah, done well. They done well in that showcase. Obviously, Obviously, the MVP is probably Liz Morgan again, looking great. Raquel Rodriguez, again, looking good as well in this as well. Obviously, Shotzi was alright. But yeah, a lot of people did showcase some really good talent here. Obviously, Liz Morgan, I think, was the MVP here. She looked great in this match. And I'm looking forward to see what they do with that tag team, because they need to do something with it. But yeah, cool stuff. But again, nothing to write home about. The only story, I guess, coming out of this match is that Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler win, and they're probably going to face the tag champs, women tag champs, at some point. But nothing really crazy. The storyline, probably the men's was better showcase, because that's more of a spot fest. This wasn't as much, but that's fine. But hey, it's you can't. Not every match is going to be amazing. It done what it was supposed to do, and in a way, can't go away people won. I mean, I probably wouldn't say Liz Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez probably should have won, just because of all the work they did and they look like they're going to. But you can't have the heels have got to win now and then. And I think this is going to, in the long run, it probably is a good result for them. So for Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. So I don't know. I'm kind of just talking on around the circles here, but it was a fine match, nothing crazy, and yeah, nothing to write home about either. So yeah, hopefully this for me might be a start of maybe building up a women's tag division that has been sorely needed ever since they introduced those women tag team championships. And hopefully these teams can be a start of some sort of division, and that'd be great. So look forward to seeing that. Hopefully it becomes a thing, but we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, okay match, again similar to the opener. Nothing to write home about, and not entirely 100% great, but it will do. It's nothing really crazy. But hey, that's wrestling. Can't all be good, but yeah, okay match. Not great though. Talk about the match that, except for the main event, I was looking forward to the most. The triple threat for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, with Gunther defending his championship against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. In a match that I knew would be good, because Sheamus has been on form for the last couple of months. Obviously, probably last year, he's been absolutely killing it. Drew's still Drew, and he's still good in the ring. He's got amazing matches. Obviously, that one with Roman a couple of months ago last year, amazing, probably one of the best of the year. And obviously, Gunther has been killing it since they put the Intercontinental title on him. That title has never been as important, probably since The Miz had it. And that's been a very long time ago. Possibly maybe Seth, I don't know. It's been a while since the Intercontinental Championship has been relevant. But Gunther having it has basically made it into that kind of must-see kind of title. And I like it. So I was looking forward to it, because I knew it was going to be a hard-hitting match. And my God, it was. It had as always, you got Gunther, or formerly known as Walter. There was chops. I mean, obviously you got, obviously Sheamus is going to be hard hitting. Obviously, Drew is going to be hard hitting, and then you're going to have Gunther that's is going to chop you until you literally bleed. Your chest is bleeding, and yeah, had some cool. So early on, it was basically Gunther was chopping the hell out of everyone, and obviously we had nice back and forth between Drew and Gunther, going back and forth with chops, hard hitting. I love the way the commentary, even the fans were commentary was just laughing, because it was so intense, so over the top with the chops that I kind of love. But yeah, obviously we had a thing later on, obviously with Drew doing Drew McIntyre and Sheamus doing the 5 beats of the band on Gunther, back and forth. He hit the front, he hit him that way when he was holding him the way he does it, holding there, and he hits him there, and then Drew hit him on the other side, and it's just constant, so to get Gunther. And then there was moments in the match where basically it was just Drew and Sheamus trying to take out each other, and then Gunther coming in to break it up or take advantage. We did have a thing with Drew McIntyre kind of coming in, hitting this really cool kind of belly to belly on Sheamus, and then used it as a battering ram to hit Gunther that was in the corner. That was a cool thing. We had obviously after that we had Drew hitting a future shock DDT. He's one of his finishers on Gunther, and then for trying to go for a near fall, and then obviously Gunther came back and hit a powerbomb for a near fall as well. Then obviously you got Sheamus hitting white noise from the top rope. That was crazy. But Sheamus locking in that cloverleaf submission hold he did for Gunther, but he was able to get out. Sheamus hitting those big knees on Drew. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of the finish was kind of the way it went, because obviously we had a situation of Drew McIntyre hit them big knees, and then Sheamus hit the bro kick on Gunther, Looks like he had him dead to rights. He was going to win the match. 1, 2, and then no. Drew McIntyre dragged Sheamus out of the ring and cost him the chance to win the title. He didn't like that at all. So obviously they cut fighting at the back. Obviously they cut fighting outside the ring. Obviously you got Drew McIntyre getting drove was over the top rope, and then obviously we had Drew McIntyre hit a Claymore on Gunther, but then that was a near. But then obviously Gunther and then Sheamus was hit a bro kick on Drew McIntyre as well for a near fall. So basically he hits the Claymore, but then Sheamus came in and hit the bro kick. Then obviously we got Sheamus hit another bro kick on on Gunther, and then obviously you got but then Gunther was able to go to the top and hit that splash on both of them, but then obviously he basically got a near fall for that one, and then Gunther basically hit a powerbomb, and basically then we obviously got Gunther hit a powerbomb on Sheamus on the back of Drew McIntyre, then obviously hit a powerbomb on Drew McIntyre for the win. And yeah, I mean, I probably botched describing most of that match, but my god, it was just one of the best matches of the night. It was so good, such a good match. It had everything you wanted. It was hard hitting, had near falls, had betrayals, it had everything you'd want. It was exactly what I thought it would be, and it's definitely one of the match of the night. It just proves that Gunther is absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to see what they do with him this year. Sheamus is probably the best form he's been since for a long time, and obviously Drew, I've heard rumours, people talking about it might be true, like maybe we can get a Drew heel turn, because it seems like him costing his mate the title is not really a cool mate thing to do. So it'd be interesting to see what they do, but I'm loving it. I mean, obviously this is recorded before SmackDown on Friday, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. Is this going to be like a Sheamus Drew thing, or is it going to be a triple threat, or something that's going to be added to make it 34-way? Obviously we've got King of the Ring coming up, so maybe they could be involved in that, so that'd be really cool. And yeah, I'm loving this Intercontinental title scene at the moment, similar to the US title scene at the moment. It's just they're really building up that scene. It used to be just you couldn't really know who was in the scene, but now it's like on the US side you've got a lot of the top tier guys going for the US title that you normally would go for the main title, and obviously we've got Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, Sheamus and Drew will probably go after the main world title, but obviously with the only good thing about Roman being champion is that is able to elevate the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship, make it into as important as they should be as secondary titles, and it's hard to win them basically. But whoever beats Gunther, I don't know. It's got to be Sheamus though. It's got to be Sheamus, right? At some point he's gonna have to do it, because obviously that they're bigging up the idea that basically it's a title he's never won. So at some point he's gonna win that title, because unless it's one of those things that he never wins it. But why bring it up if it's not gonna happen? But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, great match. It's probably up there my top 3 of the 2 nights. Obviously we'll talk about that more when we get to my final thoughts later on in this review. But yeah, great match, love it. And yeah, check it. All I'm saying is the Intercontinental title scene is looking good, and I cannot wait to see what kind of awesome more matches they can do with Gunther. Because Gunther, I have to admit, yeah, they've changed the name, but he's Stu Walter Gunther. Let's do booking him like they did in NXT UK, and let's do booking him as the monster and the unbeatable monster that he is. And it's going to take something really special to take that title for him, and I cannot wait to see who that could be. But yeah, but until then, it's going to be awesome to see this story between Gunther as Intercontinental Champion and maybe a Drew heel turn. It's going to be fascinating, but good storytelling here. As much as it's been bad going around, this storyline I'm enjoying, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So yeah, but overall, good match. Probably one of the best ones of the night. So yes, let's talk about the WWE Raw Women's Championship match with Bianca Belair going against Asuka. And I got to be honest, this match it seemed to lack something. Obviously, it feels to me that the story going into is Asuka kind of trying to make mind games with the whole goo thing coming out of her mouth, that trying to freak her out type thing. But I knew it would be a good match, because obviously Bianca Belair is really amazing in the ring, and obviously Asuka is Asuka, so we know how good she is. I knew it was going to be a good match, but it's just the story wasn't there, and I was probably going in thinking I don't see Asuka winning this, and I wasn't wrong in the sense of that. But Bianca Belair kind of like, again, I think she's shown how good she is in the ring, and obviously Asuka's like, I like her character, but they really got to do something with that, because obviously she's more crazy. But when you change the way you are, you've got to win. got to win big. So hopefully at some point that happens. But yeah, I like to start this match with Bianca Belair just going at Asuka. Like, you know, no, she's basically got to go after her. Got a nice little thing with her, obviously going for a German suplex. And again, another German was a type thing. We obviously had Asuka trying to, Bianca Belair early on trying to do that kind of like, you know, handstand kind of, you know, flip kind of like, you know, moonsault. But Asuka was able to counter into the trying to go in for Asuka lock type thing. Then they were fighting on the apron. We had obviously a drop kick. Was it a nice Asuka drop kicked Bianca Belair into the post, that kind of stuff. Obviously she was able to finally hit that moonsault that she'd be trying to get from most of the match for a near fall there. Obviously they got Bianca Belair goes to the top, but obviously Asuka follows her, and as always in matches against Bianca Belair, you always have to try and use her hair against her. That's kind of the way it goes. But yes, obviously we got Asuka hit a code breaker on Bianca Belair for a near fall. We got some sort of Bianca Belair hitting some sort of glam slam type move into the corner. But basically the match ended with Asuka trying to use the after Bianca Belair was trying to hit the KLD. Then Asuka tries to use the mist. We kind of like messed it up or just didn't hit anyone. And then obviously Asuka tried to lock in the armbar, but then Bianca Belair left. But able to counter and able to hit the KOD, the kiss of death on Asuka for the win. And yeah, it was a good match. It was a good match. That's the problem. It's like, I don't know. It didn't really hit me as hard as like it would be if it was a, you know, that's the story in there. But no, it was because it felt like it was botched together because Rhea Ripley went for Charlotte. There was a really made story there. So this one kind of felt just a bit, I don't know. It was a good match. It was a solid match. With these two, you expect a good match. It was the quality of the match in question, but it needed something more. I think the storyline build up to this week that kind of didn't really make it interesting enough to really get the crowd going as much. But you could sit there and say, okay, Asuka now loses yet again on the big one. But Bianca Belair, she's been champion for a year now, but I'm still kind of wondering what they're going to do, because she seems like another one of those title reigns that is long and it's great, but is it memorable? That's the question. Like, I mean, what's she really done? And that's what worries me. So I either they've got to do a character change or do a match that's gonna make it more interesting. Obviously they've set up. They said when we talked about the SmackDown Women's Championship match with Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair going out for maybe teasing a unification match. I'm not a fan of it. I think they should be separate. Obviously, I double down on this after watching this match, that I think Bianca Belair doesn't need to lose that title, and then we've just got another person with both the belts. I mean, someone said, what's the point of having SmackDown then if you got... I know they don't really take the brand extension seriously anymore, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I think keep them separate, but I don't know. I mean, the rematches on the cards, I think it needs to get a bit more intense. I think Asuka needs to basically... I don't think they showed it on that really apparently terrible... was it Raw after WrestleMania, putting one of the worst, a very bad score I've heard from Cage Match as well. It's a terrible show, but we won't get into that. But nothing that I see to engage that they're going to do anything other than that. But I think Asuka needs to basically up her viciousness and basically just go completely nuts, because I always feel in wrestling you kind of need to basically justify a heel turn. So if you come back as the kind of bad guy or the bad woman, you've got to win. I think that's the problem when they do these character changes. They usually change them for a month and they just don't win. So I feel sorry for Asuka. She's never really got a proper run with those titles. So with that title, so Bianca Belair winning, no surprise, nothing really to write home about. I just wish it had a better story going into it, because match-wise, it was a great match. It was really good. But yeah, I think if you're going to choose out the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown Women's one beats it by a mile. But it was a good match for what it was, but I just wanted more. I just wanted a bit more from this match. But hey, not every match has got to be amazing, but it was solid and it was good, and it just shows how amazing these two women are. But I think it needed a little bit something else, and it didn't have it, so I wasn't really excited or anything. No emotion from it. That's always why. That's not a really good sign when you got a match. But yeah, Bianca Belair winning, cool. That's what we do. Hopefully they can do something more interesting than what they're planning, and hopefully they can build something that make her reign, probably, for my opinion, more memorable. But yeah, overall, good match. But It just needed something a little bit more. So yes, before we talk about Edge versus Finn Balor, or the Demon Finn Balor in Hell in a Cell, yet again, like we did on obviously night 1, we've got to talk about the obviously another segment with Snoop Dogg and The Miz. Obviously, him setting up another match for him this night. Obviously, last night on night 1, obviously he went against Pat McAfee that he lost, and obviously now he came back and Shane returned briefly. Obviously a situation that he tried to do a hip jump over, but he'd done his knee and he damaged his quad apparently during that little impromptu match. So he was out. Snoop Dogg has got one hell of a left hand on him, and obviously and then Snoop Dogg was somehow in the match, but they had to improvise, so I don't really grudge him for it. Punches, and then hit the people's elbow on the Miz. Snoop gets the win, and just a nice little segment, a little breather going before we get to this intense match we're going to talk about now. I know I could have done a separate section, but it's so short, it's not even worth talking about. I just need to bring up, and obviously with Shane being injured, you've got to talk about it. But let's talk about what's the title thing on this is. Edge versus Finn Balor, Hell in a Cell. The end of probably this year-long feud for the Judgment Day, ever since they turned on him, probably again a year ago, and it all culminates in as Hell in a Cell should be the final match. And obviously, first time in probably a long time that we've seen the Demon Finn Balor, and cool stuff here. Obviously, we've got a lot of as you expect Hell in a Cell, because you can't go intense like with the blood. You've got to go with the intensity in the match. So we had cool stuff with obviously Edge early on getting a chair, Finn Balor getting a kendo stick, just using weapons. Edge hitting Finn Balor's back with a chair, not working. He's a demon, it's going to take much more than that to take him out. We had stuff like that. We had a cool thing when Finn Balor was trapped in the corner of the cell with two kind of kendo sticks there and one there, just to kind of basically to trap him. I like the kind of character work that he's basically making growling noises and probably actually acting like a demon. Obviously, I like the idea he does a drop kick with him trapped in the corner of the cell. That was really cool. But it didn't really work because Finn Balor, he's a demon, so it takes a lot more to take him out. Edge got a table, put it in the corner. Obviously, someone's going to go through that at some point. You got Edge hitting. I think it was like the same. Was it Corey Graves was sitting there saying it was Gangrel's former finisher, but it actually was the execution. I just think he liked that name and he kept saying it over and over again. Obviously Finn Balor dropkick Edge through that table they set up earlier. You had obviously you got Finn Balor throwing steel chairs at Edge, but it didn't work. Got Edge paying homage to his his friend Christian Cage, who's now in AEW, hitting the kill switch on Finn Balor. Finn Balor got, but then obviously after that Finn Balor goes for a pin because obviously you counter it. But then obviously Edge basically hitting his best moves on Finn Balor, and he can't take down the demon. We had a bit that obviously Ego went to the underneath and got a ladder, threw the ladder at the demon, but the problem with that obviously it had stopped for a little while because obviously he hit him right on the top there. There's pictures online where basically he split his skull open just there, so we had to get that stapled and sorted before we can get the match going. Back again, obviously Edge went through after this in the kendo stick, got another ladder, bridged that in the corner. Then obviously you had the situation of Edge spearing. We've got Edge going for a spear, but he goes into the setup ladder. You got then Finn Balor comes in and hits the coup de grace on Edge from the top for 2. Then Edge hits execution off the ladder. Obviously, it's like he's on the ladder. He's using the rope to use it as leverage. Hit off the ladder there for a very near fall. Then we obviously had a very funny, not intentionally funny segment where he's basically Finn Balor is he wants to do coup de grace onto Edge on I think it had the ladder, but there was like a little podium thing there, so you can stand, you're climbing up the wall of the cage. There's a little podium thing there, so it's like, oh, maybe this spot was planned, but hey, it's the way it is. But so obviously hit the coup de grace and it goes through there's a table there, goes through the table, but then so Finn Balor gets out of the way. Basically Edge was on the table, he tried to kill coup de grace, Edge gets out of the way, so he goes for the table. Then Edge hits spear for a near fall, then multiple chair shots on Finn Balor. He's fed up with him, and then a little homage, like a basic revenge on the Finn Balor, or the bloodline on the Judgment Day. That's cool. Concerto on Finn Balor. He's out. He gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. And he wins the feud and wins this match. And finally probably ends the feud with Edge. And the Judgment Day. And yeah, it was a very entertaining match. It had everything you'd want from a modern WWE Hell in a Cell. It has weapons. It has big spots. It has, kind of intensity in a way. But it's basically a spots fest, really. But yeah, I mean, that thing with the Finn Balor going for the table, trying to go like coup de grace from the top, and obviously going for the table is cool. The idea that it took a concerto to put down a demon in the end. It should be a finish. I like that basically he didn't hit any of his finishers because none of them were working. He basically just used his concerto, and that's basically smack. It's got to be some demon with cut off the head and the body will die. Maybe it's smash the head with a concerto and the body will die. Maybe that's the way they wanted to do it there. But yeah, I mean, obviously the only thing I'll say about this match is I have to watch, and I don't want to compare it because it's not fair, but AEW, if it would have done this, it had blood. And I think Hell in a Cell was always missed having blood because it's an intense match. It's one of the best ones have the intensity. It's basically a kind of no DQ match with weapons that just has a cage around it. There's no real intensity. I know it's not really fair to them because they've been doing that for years. But yeah, except for that, it's really, it's a fun match. I think everyone enjoyed it. I think the crowd really into it. And really cool stuff here. So Finn Balor, what to do next? Obviously, it'll probably still be around with the Judgment Day. What feud they go for, I don't know. I would hope they go for more. They try to go for the titles at some point, so they can make it, so they can become a super group at some point. Edge, I don't know. Obviously, there's talk of him retiring this year. What he does next, obviously, it's going to be sad again, but this time he's retiring on his own terms, so that's good for him. So, but he should. There might be a rematch, but I don't think so. This is the feud ender. So, what he does next, I don't know. It'd be interesting though. It'd be interesting to see what Edge's kind of possibly final feud would be. It'd be interesting to see who he picks. It wouldn't surprise me if it's some sort of Randy Orton or AJ or something like that. Some match someone that can benefit from him being his final opponent. It always is the case. But yeah, overall, great match. I loved it, and a nice finish to I got to be honest, a storyline that at first was a bit off, but started getting traction the more it continued, and was probably one of the more interesting stories coming out of last year and the last couple of months. So another good one here. I'd probably say it's the third best of coming out of this show, going into the show, other than obviously Dominik and, well, to be fair, the Rhea and Dominik was a part of that feud, so there's 2 or 3 good ones here. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do next with this, because obviously it's been a year of some people's lives, so it'll be interesting to see what they do next. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. Really good match here. So yes, let's talk about the main event of night 2, the main event of the entire both nights, and the match that, let's be honest, the internet was talking a lot about. Them not sure who was going to win. Obviously, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Who is going to win? Was it going to be Cody finally end that historic reign of Roman Reigns, or is yet again Roman Reigns going to come out on top in his historic title reign? Yeah, I didn't know where to go in this one. Obviously, we were all thinking Cody was going to win because it made sense. The storyline's been going on for a long, nearly 3 years now, and it needs to end at some point. And what better time to do it than WrestleMania? Was that man going to be Cody? Because obviously there was a short build, and I feel that basically this would have been a much more wouldn't have been in doubt if it wasn't for that injury to his pectoral muscle right there that took him out for nearly 9 months last year. Because then we would have had an entire year of him building up, and then there'd be no doubt that basically the story was he's going to win, and he had to struggle to get the win here. So, but yeah, but in a way I knew it was going to be a good match, because most Roman matches are. Let's be honest, some of them are a bit like you get tiresome with the old cheating and Usos and refs going down. It's kind of the same old in a way, but it's still mildly entertaining, and that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. If the match is entertaining and it gets a reaction, then I think it's fine. If you're watching enough of the Attitude Era, you know they've done that all the time in their main events, so I don't know why it's annoying now. But anyway, But anyway, obviously we'll talk about the finish in a bit, but let's go through like some good points of the match. Obviously we had Roman kind of laughing off Cody's attacks early, and Cody was able to regroup. We had a situation that was really cool, where Cody went for a disaster kick, and Roman caught him and caught him in midair and kind of hit a powerbomb. Obviously, the whole thing I like about this is Cody just couldn't get anything going. Roman had his number. Obviously, we had the situation with Solo on the outside. Obviously, he would accompany him to the ring, and obviously he was it early on when Cody Rhodes was on the apron. Obviously, he used the steel chair without the ref looking, and obviously put the side of it onto his side just there. So obviously that was for most of the match working on that. Obviously Solo kept grabbing Cody Rhodes' leg. Obviously he was trying to do a sprint when he was going between the ropes. Obviously Roman wasn't able to take advantage of that. Obviously Solo's face seems like he doesn't want to do it. I don't know if I just noticed that or just that's a thing. It looked like he didn't want to do it, but it's kind of it was just nothing more. He just didn't want to do it. Maybe that's the storyline. Maybe they're going for. Maybe that's what we're talking about, like a third chapter. But yeah, obviously we got Cody hitting all these big moves, disaster kicks, obviously on the floor, punching up type thing. Obviously hit a big Cody cutter on Roman Reigns for a near full. Thought that was it. Obviously then we got Cody Rhodes going to dives on the outside. We got Solo who's going to use the weight belt, but the ref heard it on the apron. He was ejected. We'll talk about him later. Obviously Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads. 1-2, that was a near fall. We thought that was going to be. Basically at this point it's back and forth. Obviously you got Roman hitting the rock bottom or Unagi. It was a Unagi, it wasn't a rock bottom, but they said a rock bottom, so I'm taking what the commentary is saying. That was really cool. You had obviously Roman try a Superman punch. You had Cody was hitting a pedigree. There's so much history to him hitting the pedigree, especially in Triple H, for a near fall. Then he hits a disaster kick. But while he's doing that, Roman Reigns was trying to go for a disaster kick. Roman Reigns was able to hit a Superman punch in midair. Looked devastating for a near fall. Obviously, then Roman Reigns tried to look for a spear, but then obviously Cody Rhodes was countering into effect before leg lock. There's probably a tie because obviously Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair is probably the best storyline of their eras, the best feud of their era. Obviously, Roman Reigns was able to counter it. Then obviously after this was just back and forth. Then obviously you got Roman Reigns. He was able to hit a spear, but it was a near fall. Then obviously you got Roman Reigns was getting desperate at this point, locking in the guillotine, kind of submission around his neck. But obviously Cody was able to fight out and get out of it. But then obviously basically at the end of the match. How does the match end? Obviously you got for Cody Rhodes trying to go for a kick. Roman Reigns moved out of the way, kicks the ref. The ref goes down. And then, as you expect, the Usos come down, as you've seen it 1,000 times, sitting there super kicking him, trying to take him out. And then obviously they hit a 1D on Cody Rhodes. But obviously then the new tag team champions came out, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, come for the save. Then obviously while they were taking them out, they took them out. Then this is the moment I think should have been the finish, because it had everything. It should have been the finish. Then obviously KO hit a stunner on Roman Reigns, and Sami Zayn hit a Kaluba kick on Roman Reigns. Then they obviously started fighting on the Usos on the outside. They fight into the crowd. Roman's down. Cody's just about crawling to go for the pin. Should have been the finish. It had all the hallmarks. The crowd were waiting for it. It had all the hallmarks. He put his hands on the chest of Roman Reigns. 1, 2, should have been 3, but he just kicked out. I think after that, we're all devastated at this point after that. Then obviously that should have been the finish. Then he had a nice thing with Cody Rhodes hitting his father's bionic elbow finisher. But then it obviously hit one. Tried to hit one crossroads, went for trying to go for another. Then Paul Heyman came on the apron, and this was enough to distract the ref. And then Solo came back out, obviously again with the hoodie, so nobody could see it was him. It was obviously him. Hit the Samoan spike on Cody Rhodes. Then Roman Reigns hit the spear. Yeah, and then 1, 2, 3, and it's still your WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. And yeah, we were devastated. Normally I can justify these kind of choices because if it's got a story afterwards. But yeah, I have to admit, even if I knew that I going into that main event because I watched it late, I knew the finish, so I knew he was going to win. But I thought, well, I would expect it. It was still gut wrenching. It was horrible. It had all the hallmarks of winning. Roman Reigns winning. I don't get it. I mean, I've got some ideas why they've done it. Obviously, some people because they want that 1,000-day kind of number. So maybe they thought Cody Rhodes wasn't ready yet. Maybe they thought maybe he needs to struggle. Maybe. Obviously, the whole situation. Maybe. I mean, the only show that makes sense to me I like is the idea that maybe it's Jay that cost him, because obviously they've just lost the tag titles. So and obviously on Raw, the go home afterward, they were told to wait in the car. So it wouldn't surprise me that if anyone's going to bring down the bloodline, it's going to be from within. It's going to be Jay or Jimmy or Jay, more than Jay, because it all started with him. So it makes sense that it all ends with him. If they do that, that's fine. But I think they missed a trick here. Everyone was up for it. It would have been a great moment. If they can make a story of it, that's cool, I guess. But I'm still gut wrenched even a couple of days later after watching this. It still sucks. They had it all. You know, all his enemies finally catching them. You know, Kevin Owens hitting the stunner. You know, Sami Zayn hitting the haluba kick. It had it all. Him going like Usos losing the tag title. It had the moment. They had it. They could have pulled the trigger there, but they didn't. And if they keep doing this, people are not going to stop being invested, because it is a thing. A story can go for too long, and it can feel deflating. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes sense in my mind, as I said, that it's Jay that cost him the title. Maybe they're going to drag it out into SummerSlam, and then Cody again. Obviously with Brock situation with Brock, obviously spoiler, he's turned heel again, and obviously attacked Cody Rhodes. So it looks like maybe he's going to have a match with Brock. That'd be fun, I guess, but it only works if Cody wins, and it's like he needs to get through all these obstacles to kind of win the title. So it's a situation of Roman Reigns says you need to earn it. You don't deserve to face me. You had your chance and you blew it. And then it's just got to go. He's got to go through the beast. Maybe he's got to go through winning King of the Ring, because I think that's before SummerSlam. Maybe he's got to go through a situation where he's got to win King of the Ring. He's got to go through all these hurdles to struggle, work his way up, until he finally gets a shot, earn the shot against Roman Reigns, and then he can win it at SummerSlam. Do it that way, I could justify it, because it means it was another part of this story. It doesn't mean it doesn't feel like it sucks. It doesn't make it more... I can't even speak. It's just, it really sucks. It really sucks with the way they've done this. I would have got Cody to win. If Roman said he wants to do less time, it makes sense that, you know, it makes sense he wins Cody, so Cody can have the title. And if you want to do a situation where Brock attacks him, that makes more sense, and then we can have a match between those two for the title. And then Roman comes back at SummerSlam, has his shot again, and then it could have been so cool, and it could have made that Raw after WrestleMania just feel a bit more interesting. But they didn't pull the trigger. Roman Reigns is still your Universal Undisputed Universe Champion. And yeah, I don't know what to say about this either. I think they missed the trick. I guess on SmackDown, obviously Raw, not as clear. I think on SmackDown, things become much more clear. So, I don't know, but I've got to be honest. Normally I can see where they were going, but I've got to be honest, not happy with this finish. I think it deflated the whole crowd, and I think they made the wrong decision here. So, that's just my opinion. But yeah, except for the finish, it was a very, very, could have been a classic. But as you say, same as the Austin Rock WrestleMania 17. So all they're going to remember is the finish. Nobody remembers the rest of the match. They always remember the finish. So I think that it only works if he wins it eventually at SummerSlam. But if he doesn't, and this is it, this is going to go down as not a good decision. It's going to be a mistake. So fingers crossed that they say this is another part of the story, that it actually is. But at the moment, obviously, I've had a couple of days to process it. I'm still not convinced, and I'm not happy with this finish. Gotta be honest, not happy with it. So yes, this is my review of WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. Yeah, I mean, a lot of matches. Obviously, we talked about. Obviously, we've got to talk about the Night 1's main event was obviously a great moment. Night 2 main event, I'm not happy with, to be honest. I still think that they missed a trick. I think Cody should have won here. Yeah, I mean, obviously, overall, Night 1, I'd probably say what was the better night, Night 1 or Night 2? I think by far Night 1 was the better show. I think it had more going for it. Most of the matches were pretty decent. I mean, the main event, was it Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win the tag titles, was definitely a highlight. You've obviously got stuff like, obviously Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley match was obviously excellent. Yeah, I think there were two good ones there. I don't think Ray versus Dominik was good as well. I just think night 1 was a better show. Obviously night 2 did have cool stuff. Obviously, we've got to talk about that triple threat for the Intercontinental title. It was probably one of my favourite top 3 of the night. Great match there. Gunther winning makes sense, but I like it. Hell in a Cell was pretty cool, and the main event was good into that finish. into the finish. Cody should have won. Just saying. Yeah, I don't know. It just top 3 matches probably. Main event, Usos versus KO and Sami Zayn versus Usos. Probably Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, number 2, and Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre for number 3. But yeah, I think number top 3 would have been the Roman match. If it wasn't for that finish, it really has left a sour taste in my mouth. But ranking wise, I'll probably give 8 out of 10 for night 1, 7 out of 10 for night 2. I think it would have been 8 out of 10 for both if it wasn't for that finish on for night 2. Might be a bit harsh, but I think a finish of a match can put a rating down of any show. But yeah, I think both nights have had its merits, ups and downs. I still don't like 2 nights because obviously I've got to do 2. This is now going to be twice as long, and it means I have to watch 2 shows instead of 1. And that's a lot of wrestling to watch. I do like wrestling, but even for me, that's a lot of wrestling to watch. But anyway, yes, hope you enjoyed my review of WrestleMania 39, Night 1 and Night 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts on it. Obviously, time this is out, obviously we still probably have time to, obviously we might find out more information, but obviously it should be out on Thursday. So you still got like another day before we get some ideas for what's happening on SmackDown. But yeah, please like and subscribe. Obviously, I'll be back for, I think the next show is going to be Backlash. Obviously, I don't think AEW is doing anything until Double or Nothing. So, but yes, obviously we're back for that. For next WWE is Backlash. Obviously, they got rid of the WrestleMania name. It's good. So, I'm interested to see what they do there. Hopefully, they can maybe make everything a little bit clear what they plan to do, especially with the Roman Reigns situation and the Brock versus Cody Rhodes match that we're gonna get. Let's see what happened there. But yeah, hope you enjoyed my review of WrestleMania Night 1 and 2. But yeah, so back for Backlash. I do plan to do more reviews than just the WWE, trying to put more content on. But yeah, I'll be back for Backlash. Hope you've enjoyed this review. I've been Stuart Irvine, and have a good rest of your week. Bye everyone. Bye.